The city never sleeps, and neither do they. The watchman stands alone on the rooftops, his eyes scanning the labyrinth below, sensing a shift in the city's pulse. A shadow moves within the darkness, and he follows, every sense heightened. Across town, in a dimly lit workshop, the craftsman molds iron and leather into tools of defense. Suddenly, the signal comes, a silent code between them. The watchman has found something, a gang ready to unleash chaos. The craftsman grabs his latest inventions, merging creativity with precision. They converge, wordlessly understanding the path ahead. As they strike, the watchman clears the way with meticulous movements. The craftsman sets traps, forcing their enemies into submission. They move as one, a perfect balance of sight and strategy until the market is safe and the shadows scatter. As they secure the area, the watchman murmurs, "Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. Keep your eyes sharp, but your heart sharper." The craftsman, finishing the last bolt on a barricade, nods. Then we build like we believe it, one line, one wall at a time. Together we guard this place. A stormy night blankets the city. The wind howls, echoing the tension in the air. Perched high, the watchman listens. A burst of static, coded, urgent, breaks the silence. Instantly he calls in the craftsman. Eyes scanning, hands moving, the craftsman deciphers the message. A chain of attacks planned to unfold in minutes. They split. The watchman sprints across the rooftops, placing detectors while the craftsman assembles tools to disarm the coming threat. Explosions erupt, each one shaking the ground beneath them. It's a race, every second feeding into the next. They weave through alleyways, stopping catastrophe with seconds to spare. In the final moment, the watchman pinpoints the trigger, his voice steady. Iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. "I see it. You end it." The craftsman kneels before the bomb, sweat beading on his brow. "And every second builds like a chain," he mutters, hands working steadily. One slip, and it all comes down. But we don't slip, not today. With a decisive click, the last bomb disarms, and silence falls. The city breathes again. A crowded square. The watchman catches the subtle handoff of a note to a courier, and his instincts flare. This moment is the start of something larger. Shadowing the courier through the streets, he calls for his partner. The trail leads to an abandoned factory filled with explosives, and a coded map pointing to alliances waiting to be activated. The craftsman quickly assesses the mechanisms, tracing wires and blueprints. Every device tells a story. One line at a time, he says, setting to work. The watchman stands vigilant, eyeing the surroundings. "I have posted watchmen on your walls." It starts with a whisper, but will be louder. Each trap dismantled brings them closer to averting disaster. But the final room holds the deadliest danger. A rigged explosion set to collapse the building. The craftsman eyes the wiring, murmuring, "For we are God's handiwork. Sometimes we must undo what's been done." The watchman's gaze sharpens. "We will undo it," he affirms. "And then we will build something better." Together they disarm the final bomb, the dominoes falling harmlessly. Haunted by visions, the watchman is drawn to an old mansion on the city's outskirts. It's a place of buried secrets and battles long past. He reaches out to the craftsman, who arrives with a device that projects echoes of the past. They walk through time, revisiting ghosts, lost conversations, and betrayals that shaped their world. The past blurs with the present, the watchman murmurs, staring at flickering images. "I will stand at my watch, but sometimes it's hard to know where to look." The craftsman adjusts his device, clearing the scene. Then we make it clear. We shape, learn, and make the ugly beautiful, if only for a moment. The visions reveal a hidden truth. In a flash, a trap springs, collapsing the house around them. The watchman grabs the craftsman, shouting, "He has made everything beautiful in its time, but this is not that time. Move!" They dive into the light, escaping as the mansion crumbles behind them. "We'll make that time," the craftsman breathes. "We'll shape it ourselves." All or nothing. Chaos reigns. An explosion rocks the city, and panic spreads like wildfire. The Watchman is on the front lines, trying to save everyone. If the Watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, "We must warn them all," he shouts. The Craftsman drags him back. "Focus," he snaps. "Sometimes to build you leave pieces behind. We can't spread thin." As they race through collapsing buildings, the Craftsman sets barriers containing destruction. The Watchman surveys escape routes from high above. They lock eyes amidst the chaos. "We start with what we can save now," the Craftsman says. The Watchman nods, leading the stragglers to safety while the Craftsman reinforces their path. "We include what we can," the Watchman mutters, "and mourn the rest when it's done." Trapped underground. The Watchman struggles to cover all entry points as the enemy closes in. "I can't watch everything," he admits, eyes darting. The Craftsman assesses their dwindling supplies. "Then we don't watch. We build," he declares, repurposing tools into makeshift devices. With the Watchman's sense of direction, they find a weak point in the structure. "We move when you say," the Watchman affirms. "You craft it, I clear the way." The Craftsman grins fiercely. "Let's make an opening they won't see coming." A blast light floods in, and they break through to safety, side by side. Their partnership frays under the pressure. The Watchman insists on a direct confrontation. "If the Watchman sees the sword, we go face to face." The Craftsman argues for preparation. "We need defenses or we lose everything." Separated, they stumble. Cornered, the Watchman realizes his need for the Craftsman's support. Traps falter without reinforcements. They regroup, understanding dawning. "Together then," the Watchman says, gripping the Craftsman's hand. "Harmony," the Craftsman agrees, brick by brick. The city's mysteries run deep. The Watchman traces a string of robberies. The Craftsman notices strange disruptions in the warehouses. Their paths converge at an underground crime syndicate. "Every path brought us here," the Watchman murmurs as they sneak through tunnels. "We open the gate, but it's for wolves this time." The Craftsman sets traps. "Then we build a cage they won't forget." The final assault is a blur of action, disabling guards, collapsing escape routes. The Watchman strikes with precision. The Craftsman seals the fate of the enemy. The paths meet and end right here, the Craftsman says as the dust settles. They stand victorious, forever changed. Light and shadow, vigilance and creation. Together they crafted not just a defense of the city, but a legacy.